Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and you are watching Dizzy World. And our topic for today is President Zuma back in court. I think we should call him President Court Zuma because the man is always in court. And he has got this endless case which started in 1999, an arms deal case. And in 2018, there was an interview conducted by Karima Brown where he was interviewing a gentleman by the name of Vusi Mavimbela. Vusi Mavimbela was a spy boss. He served both President Mbeki and also President Zuma. And in his memo, or in his book, he is talking about the rift between the two gentlemen. He says, according to his observation, the rift between the two men started when President Zuma was still working in KwaZulu-Natal as an MEC there. Apparently, President Thabo Mbeki used to make comments about his portfolio. And now, when the time now came for the ANC to discuss who was going to take over from the president. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may just clarify something. Arms deal happened in 1999 and President Zuma was first indicted in June 2005. But the attempts to prosecute him have been beset by legal challenges and also political controversy. Now, back to Mr. President Mbeki. His concerns was that if this man, that is now President Zuma, upgrades to his position, does he have the capacity to do the job? And Karima Brown, who was interviewing the late, in fact, Karima Brown, may her soul rest in peace, who was interviewing Vusi Mavimbela on her show, The Fix. She also mentioned something about President Mbeki previously attempted to appoint Mangosuthu Buthelezi as his deputy, but now he turned him down. He turned him down because he realized that the position was just ceremonial. The position didn't have any power. Now, there was also a minister of intelligence, Lindiwe Sisulu, who also tried to intervene together with Mr. Mavimbela, trying to talk President Mbeki out of sidelining President Zuma, because their concern was that the outside world would view his actions as political interference. Minister Lindiwe Sisulu and Mr. Mavimbela advised Mr. Mbeki, Mr. President, why don't you just let the law to run its course rather than taking a decision to fire President Zuma? But President Mbeki decided to fire President Zuma. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's please go and have a look at this video.
I won't know exactly when it started, but from what I observed, it really started during the time when Zuma was in KwaZulu-Natal as an MEC.
Yes.
Because Mbeki used to comment about the things that were happening in KwaZulu-Natal. So when the crunch time came, Mbeki's position was that he doesn't think that he's fit for the job. He would cite things that had happened in KwaZulu-Natal in his portfolio to say, now if this man upgrades to this position, does he have the capacity to do things that we think needs to be done? So he began to have doubts in his mind, in Mbeki, but there was not much room for him to maneuver. You know, so when we set up that kitchen cabinet and made a proposal to him, of course we were hoping that he's going to take the proposal. But he didn't, for whatever reason. He didn't. And then we landed with what we landed with.
Yes, but of course there was an elaborate ruse before that. There was an attempt to offer the deputy presidency to Buthelezi at the time. Buthelezi realized that the role is ceremonial. He wanted the power in KwaZulu-Natal and of course turned it down. But there was also a point where you speak very poignantly about your and the then Minister of Intelligence, Lindiwe Sisulu's initiatives to try and get President Mbeki to accept that the rule of law needs to deal with President Jacob Zuma, that there cannot be a whiff of political interference because it will alienate and it will divide the African National Congress further. But the sense that I certainly got from the book, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that he then became obsessed with the fact that Jacob Zuma was not going to be the president of the ANC, and he stood for a third time. So much so that Lindiwe Sisulu begged you on the eve of the Polokwane conference to still go to Thabo Mbeki and say withdraw, because she of course knew that President Zuma was going to have a landslide victory.
Well, I wouldn't say that Mbeki interfered with the legal process. But what was clear is that he was wishing for something to happen that will make Zuma not legible for the position. And we were worried that his behavior was giving the impression to the public, to the alliance, that he wanted Zuma out. And that was going to cause a rift within the alliance and within the ANC. We were worried about that. So when we were talking to him, we were talking about the need to have a global intelligence view about what might be the repercussions if he is seen to be taking a position. But I don't think he was actively interfering.
Now again, we have another gentleman now who was the former director of public prosecutions, Mr. Bulelani Ngcuka. He was also in an interview by Xoli Mgambi. He was interviewed by Xoli Mgambi on Newsroom Africa in 2022, 18th of May 2022. He is telling a story about a gentleman by the name of Gerda Ferreira. Apparently Gerda Ferreira called him, and that call was a beginning of a nightmare for him. He is telling this in his new book as well. He also wrote a new book, which is Bulelani Ngcuka, The Sting in the Tail. He touches on how Ferreira excitedly told him about having evidence that is linking President Zuma directly on the arms deal corruption. So Mr. Bulelani Ngcuka, after having heard this, he was shocked, first of all, and also he didn't really know what to say or what to do, as he did not entirely trust this gentleman, this Ferreira and the other gentleman. I think it was Downer was also involved in this. Now, the reasons why he didn't trust these gentlemen was because he found them there. He found them in the NPA. It was not people that he knows, people that he knew, say for an example, from the days of the struggle. They were the people that he found in the NPA. Now, I'm asking myself a question. He says, however, he made a decision not to prosecute. I'm sure many people will remember him on TV saying he had a prima facie case, but the case was not winnable. So he decided not to prosecute. But now when he tried now to get the evidence, because the gentleman that called him was saying there was a fax, which was the evidence. Now when he asked about the fax, the lady who was in possession of this fax, they said she misplaced the fax. That's when now he started to have some doubts and suspicions about this whole story. And eventually there was Judge Mokotedi Mshe, who also in the end dismissed the case on the grounds of political interference. Now, the reasons why I've decided to talk about this subject today was because I also have my doubts about this whole arms deal saga. First of all, Mr. Bulelani Ngcuka, who was the NPA boss at the time, was suspicious of the evidence that was mentioned by the Garda Ferreira and others who were involved in this case, because these people, he found them in the NPA. Now I'm asking myself a question. President Mbeki and President Zuma, they come a long way from the days of the struggle. At one point, they were in prison together, playing chess together, and there were other stories about the two gentlemen that they were always together. Wherever President Mbeki was, President Zuma was always 1 meter away from him. So these two comrades were more than comrades, they were also friends. But now I'm asking my question now. President Mbeki is a renowned intellectual. If Mr. Ngcuka was suspicious of these gentlemen he found in the NPA, I'm wondering myself, how come he just took their evidence at face value, not interrogating the evidence? How he was able to trust these gentlemen who, according to my understanding, were part of the previous government, which was the apartheid government or national party government. So we, the lay people or the masses on the ground, when we look at these two gentlemen, we see stalwarts of the struggle. I see two elephants that are fighting, and as the saying goes, when two elephants are fighting, the grass suffers. And now we have also a buffalo in the mix. Now we have two elephants that are fighting. We have again a buffalo that is joining now the fight. Because according to my understanding, the divisions in the vanguard movement started in 2005 when President Zuma was fired. The ANC was divided, there was COPE and other organizations afterwards. So my issue with the divisions in the vanguard movement is that, for me, I see this as derailing the revolution. And I'm wondering if these two men were able in the early 1990s, in fact, even in the late 1980s, because I understand they were talking to the National Party government even before they came back from exile. So if they were able to do that, they were able to talk to apartheid government and reconcile with the apartheid government, what is stopping them now to sit down amongst themselves and talk to each other and resolve whatever their differences, whatever the animosity? Why can't they just sit down, talk, and bury the hatchet? Because for me, if they were able to speak to reconcile with the National Party, I don't think there is any other atrocities that we can call unspeakable atrocities that can cause them, that is now the brothers who are coming from the same liberation movement. I don't say anything that they cannot sit down and iron out. So that's basically the reason why I brought this topic up today. I don't know what people are thinking about it, but it just crossed my mind and I decided just to talk about it and hear what other people's views will be. Otherwise, this is how we come to the end of today's video. And ladies and gentlemen, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, share the video, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.